we have programmed our core using a simple drag and drop. That's just fantastic. As you can see, you have a Wi-Fi signal that is waiting for you to connect so that you can configure your station. For all intents and purposes, this is your station right here. There's just one piece missing. It is your LoRa radio. We can already plug it in, no problem at all. All right, so this is your entire station, less the antenna, right? That you can connect over here. We have looked at the module about antennas. So this is your station right here. Now let's try and configure it. Okay, to configure it, you will look on your computer or on your phone, whichever you want to use to configure. Among the Wi-Fi signals available, you should see a signal called My TinyGS, like the one you see over here. If you click on it to connect, it will connect, but it will not connect you to the internet. But once it's connected, what it allows you to do is to go to this IP address and connect so that you can configure the core. All right, it's connected. It will complain about not being connected to the internet, but that's not a problem for us right now because that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to connect, as it indicates here, 1.192.168.41. Let's see if it connects here. Sometimes you need to put a /config here for it to actually take you to where you're supposed to be. So here we are. What you want to do is set this up so that your TinyGS ground station can be active on the TinyGS website. First, system configuration. This is where you tell your core how it is supposed to connect to the internet. You give it its name. You name your core. This is system configuration. This, you give the name of the station. We're going to call this MaxIQ Priso NMD2. This is following the naming convention in the course. All right. So you can check out the naming convention to see the logic of this name. You give it its password. We're going to make it simple for the sake of this. We will call it password. I can change it later on, no problem. Password, because it has to be minimum 8 characters. You tell your core how it is supposed to connect to the internet. Okay, so I pick one of my Wi-Fi signals, my SSIDs here, and I type in the password like that. So this is me telling my core its name, giving it a password, of course for this dashboard, of course, but essentially it's your core. Telling it what SSID and what password it uses to connect to the internet, and telling it its position. Right, so I'm checking on a map to see our coordinates. We are at latitude 4.020, it takes 3 decimal places, and longitude 9.696. The time zone is Africa Douala, because we are in Douala, Cameroon. And of course, this will correspond to your own positions and your time zone, right? Okay, this you have told the core, you've given it a name, password, you told it how to connect to the internet, and you gave it its position and its time zone. Next, you give it MQTT credentials. Why? This core will receive satellite data, and this satellite data is supposed to be sent to the TinyGS dashboard via the internet. How does it do it? First, it connects to the internet. You told it how to do it. Then it has to connect to the TinyGS MQTT server so it can send the data over there. You now have to tell it how to connect. You need to get your MQTT credentials. Where do you get them from? First, you need to reconnect to the internet. We're going to do it here. So I'll just get to this Wi-Fi that is connected to the internet, just so I can sort out the Telegram credentials, and then I'll come back here. Okay, I'm connected. So you go to Telegram. Basically, you go to Telegram and you type at TinyGS personal bot. So I open Telegram here. I typed in the search bar at TinyGS personal bot. Here at TinyGS. Normally you should see this one over here, TinyGS personal bot. And here you are. Okay. I've already done some work over here, so I just cleared the history so you can see what's happening. There's a menu button here. It's very simple. You hit the menu button, and first thing you do is you go for the first option, /MQTT. This creates or edits your MQTT account. I already have one. Alright, so I already have MQTT credentials. You will easily, the instructions are very simple to configure yours. So what you want to do is get your user name and password. I'm just going to copy it here and paste the information here. MQTT username and the password. Don't change this, the server address and the server port. Don't change it, leave it as it is. Board configuration, leave this box as it is, leave it alone, and move on to advanced configuration. The link in the description will take you to the domino4.com TinyGS GitHub repository, and this piece of code here, CWA version 2, it says still in prototyping, not confirmed working, but from what I can tell, it works well from this side. You click on this copy button at the end of the code here to copy this code. The one, be careful, not the CWV, the CWA version 2, because that is the core you are dealing with. And that you paste in the box that says board template. You paste it there. If you move all the way to the beginning of the code, there is a space that is reserved for the ground station name. What you can do is simply copy the name over here and paste it just at the level of these braces here, where it says insert your ground station name. Right here, paste it. You will need to paste it here as well. In fact, this is where you need to paste it. Be careful, the quotes, leave the quotes where they are. Paste the name. Get to the bottom of this table, click on done. It says you're done, and that is pretty much all you need to do. Click on apply, but before you click on apply, you have to connect to my TinyGS again, otherwise you will not be configuring the board. So we're connected, and now we can apply these configurations. They're being applied, and you can see what's happening on the core. You're given a new IP address to connect. Your LoRa radio is picked up, so you can see on the board that you're pretty much configured. The TinyGS bot will tell you when your station is added.